So Cameron Green and Mitchell Marsh are both injured. Mitchell Marsh has hardly bowled, and when he did bowl, he then had to be rested the next game. Cameron Green has got a problem, and actually they're talking about him not being able to bowl against India in the Border-Gavaskar at the end of the year.
Which is a real shame, because that could be a great series, and you know, we kind of want everyone fit from, you know, Mohammad Shami and Cameron Green. You want everyone fit for that one.
You want the best out there on the field, but it does raise a real problem for Australia, because they need to have some all-rounders in there, and they've gone from a position where they could have 2 all-rounders in their top 6.
Yeah.
They could get away with 1 who isn't bowling, but they're not going to be able to get away with 2. So if Marsh and Green can't bowl, who makes up Australia's top 6?
It's fine, because Travis Head took a 4 for the other day against the one-day team, so he's an all-rounder now. It means that probably Aaron Hardy, which now England audiences would be more familiar with him, I think it means that Aaron Hardy is a possibility of coming into that side.
Yeah. Maxwell has just put his head up and said he wants to play red ball cricket. I've only played 7 test matches, I want to play.
I don't know where he fits in.
If he was in India, I think he could play, but they're not going to play 2 spinners in Australia, are they?
I don't
No.
They're not going to use his bowling all that much. So Hardy's probably in test level as maybe a number 5, number 6, whereas obviously we know Cameron Green can bat higher and may end up batting higher.
He's batting at 4.
Hey?
It kind of gives Australia an out, because it means they can kind of move Smith back down to 4.
Yeah, so I think they can play around a little bit there with that. But yeah, I think it's an incredible situation to have Mitch Marsh. You can throw Marcus Stoinis in there as well. Mitch Marsh, Marcus Stoinis, Cameron Green, and Aaron Hardy are all Western Australian all-rounders who, in one way or another, are ridiculous physical specimens who can give you some bowling. It's a shame that they're all right-arm seamers and that they're not all that dissimilar to each other. But I think Cameron Green's a much more important bowler in Australia, because he's big and he whacks it into the wicket. Whereas Aaron Hardy, I think, was at his best in England when it was nipping around a little bit. So I think he's probably better for New Zealand, England, South African pitches. But you can easily, if they want to go there, but that means they're playing against India with a guy who will be on debut, right? Like, they're going to be trialling someone in a pretty big series. They did that last time with Green, obviously. So it's the second time they're playing their biggest series.
They'll come up with a player. Where does Dan Worrell fit into this?
He's English now, isn't he?
He's just English now. That's it. He can't revert.
Well,
can he revert?
I imagine he would still. Well, I imagine there is September the 30th. You qualify for Australia. October the 1st. You qualify for England. I guess that's how it works. That's what David Bedingham did, didn't he? Came to England.
But I think you can flip.
Well, that's what I mean. So he could.
If Australia said, "Look, we want you to play," what would he say?
But that's another issue that they have, and whether they want to pick an ageing seamer, because they've still got Scott Boland around.
I was going to say Scott Boland. Is he just past it, or?
Well, it's England just got to him, right? I don't think. Well, Scott Boland isn't any better or worse than he was beforehand. He should be tougher to play in Australian wickets.
They're going to go in with Stark, Cummins and Hazlewood, right? And Lyon. But they need someone to bowl outside of those. They had Marsh they need Marsh and Green. Now, do Green and Marsh play as batters only? They can't both play.
Not in all 5 tests.
Well, they can't. No, together.
Yeah.
So Green, I imagine, plays ahead of Marsh. He's the better batter. He just hit 170 odd against New Zealand. He is their number 4. Marsh is their number 6.
So who's opening in this imaginary team?
Well, I don't know.
Because if they move
Smith down to 4.
So if Smith goes to 4 and Head opens,
yes,
which is what they're talking about, I don't think it's any better than Smith opening, but hey, they're going to go with that, right?
So Head, '𝐊𝐤𝐦𝐿.
Yeah, Marnus,
Smith.
Yeah.
Then what?
So that gives you Green, Hardy, and Marsh, right?
You can't have 3.
So you have to put Hardy. If they want extra bowling,
yeah.
Who's the up-and-coming young batter that they can slot in at 6?
So that'll be Hardy.
Okay, but he bowls as well.
Yeah.
That's what they need.
He's your man.
Yeah. But that means they have to drop.
How old is he?
He's mid-20s.
24?
Oh, he's good. There he is.
So they drop Mitch Marsh.
But the problem is what he said.
Well, no, they've got the 4 bowlers. We need somebody to...
Mitch Marsh was just a player of the year in Australia, by the way.
He's not fit to bowl, so you're going to play the all-rounder who's fit in both disciplines.
So do you drop Mitch Marsh or do you drop Cam Green?
Any of them, whichever you think. You fancy, who's the better batter? Probably Cameron Green. He plays Mitch Marsh as a blow until he gets fit.
The
Done. Team's fit.
I think they probably go the other way at the moment. If it's number 5, number 6, and they might have other ideas about what they want to do. But if we've nailed it with the top 4, I think they're much more likely to have Marsh at 5 and Hardy at 6. I think because Marsh is. He was the player of the year, whereas Green hasn't quite been at that level.
It's one or the other. You can pick who you want, really. You pick Marsh or you pick Green. I think the interesting thing is that, looking from outside, Smith 4.
It gives them that out, doesn't it? Just to push Smith
4. Towards your head, Labuschagne, Smith, somebody, Hardy, keeper, 4 bowlers.
I worry about head opening.
Yeah, I would. If you're,
I won't worry so much about that. David Warner, you worry about him?
The difference between the two of them is that I think Head is a fantastic player, but I think he has a massive weakness when you bowl just at the top of off stump. I don't know. Did you see the Sky graphic on this?
No.
It's hilarious. The first time I saw it, and NASA's mentioned it 20 times since, so you know it's one of those things.
Is he still on Sky?
Hey, apparently, yeah. Friend of the show. There's a little box in ODI cricket where he has a strike rate of 47,
right?
Travis said, and everywhere else you bowl to him, he's got a strike rate of 147.
Who's coming up with this?
So this is from the CricViz data.
All right.
So we know that, but when you watch him, essentially it's where I've seen Stark do it to him, I've seen Bumrah do it to him, I've seen Jofra do it to him. If you just slam the ball at the top of off stump over and over again, Head doesn't have a repeatable defensive shot in that area.
So who's your other opener then?
No. I'm not saying there is no other opener. That's the issue here. Really? It has to be him or Smith. Unless they go with Bancroft. You would have seen Bancroft. Who's he playing for now?
Gloucester? Yeah, Cameron Bancroft.
He's back in Australia.
Yeah, but he was playing for Gloucester, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he won the T20 finals.
Wow. David Payne won the... I can't believe we're talking about good cricketers we've seen the last couple of weeks, and he comes up with betting him. Test cricketer. David Payne, what an effort that was. He basically won finals day on his own.
That's white ball cricket, I'm telling you. Yeah,
I thought finals day was like the spiritual home of Bumble.
No, I haven't seen it for years because I'm not involved. I'm not there. If they want anybody to call it, I'll come and do it. Stood on my head if they want. Anyway, there's the ad.
So you were saying
I just think there's
𝐊𝐻𝐿𝐻, Marnus, Smith,
somebody.
Green, or no, Marsh. So they dropped Green.
Yeah, I think so.
Cameron Green's been dropped, Bumble.
I'm not bothered to play any of them. I'm not bothered. I'm not losing any sleep at number 5, any of them, which is toss up.
I think just because... So one thing that they really liked was, and this is why I don't think Head should open, is I think what they had done to teams is having Head at 5 and having Marsh at 6 was like probably the most dangerous 5-6 combination. And it meant that both of them came in when the ball was a little bit old.
A bit older.
And if it wasn't nibbling around,
bit tiring.
Right. So I thought that was
push the game on. Push it. Yeah.
And I think the top order was quite defensive. I know Warner was still there, but he wasn't the Warner he used to be. The top order was quite defensive. They dulled it down a little bit. A bit like what England did in 2010-11, that period, right? Where you would dull it down and then KP and Pryor would come in and you're like, oh, God, okay, how are we going to stop these two with an old ball? I think Australia had set their team up like that. Now everything has fallen apart a little bit because it doesn't look like they want Smith to open anymore. They let Smith open because he wanted to open, but I don't think they want him to open.
He ain't an opener.
But neither's Head. I really don't think Head's a red ball opener.
Well, find me another opener.
Yeah.
Cameron Bancroft, but maybe somebody else.
Yeah. Well, the guy it should have been, of course, is Will Pucovski, who should already be 30 tests into his career, averaging 45 by now. But unfortunately, he's retired, and that's the end of that. So he was the next big talent, and they haven't really found anyone else, sadly.
Well, they might need another because 𝐊𝐻𝐿𝐻's no spring chicken. He's must be 37.
Final hurrah.
Yeah. 𝐊𝐻𝐿𝐻 just this year, it's only from a few matches, has had his first form dip in quite a while.
Haven't they just pushed him up the order for Queensland?
Has he gone back up?
Yeah, I think they've asked him to open again.
So he's just got to a point, 𝐊𝐻𝐿𝐻, where, and it could be nothing, it could be just a couple of games, but when you get in your late 30s and you go through a few games where you don't make runs, and he's got a lot of interest, he's got his own YouTube channel, friend of the show.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.